And I just want to, this is an incredible crowd. I am so touched that everybody showed up for all of us, and it just means a lot to us as artists, because we work in our solitary studios, we put it on the wall, and we wonder what everybody thinks. So it's really, really a generous act to come out and to be in conversation. So thank you so much for that. So I just thought I'd say a little thing, which is that I make abstract compositions that explore presence and vulnerability and a body-based sort of somatic way of knowing. That's what I'm thinking about. And I realized recently when I was preparing this show, I made the connection between my process of making work as an artist and the practice that I've had for about 5 years now, started during COVID, of swimming in the bay. Year-round in the bay. There's quite a few of my bay swim friends here, which I so appreciate. And so I know you all will get this. And I like to swim in the bay without a wetsuit. When I started, I wore a wetsuit, but then when I came to the dock, I would peel off the wetsuit and see what it felt like to just be in, as we say in the swimming community, skins, meaning just your skin, not a wetsuit. And I love the feeling because swimming in a wetsuit changes how you swim. It kind of floats you up a little bit, and it just feels really different to just be in your regular body swimming in the water, and it's very sensual, and it can be very vulnerable feeling and very, very cold, but that felt also very alive and very, you're in the present moment and you're really feeling that prickly sensation. And for me, I'm slowing down, I'm trying to calm my racing heart and just get present, get into the moment, accept what is, not fight it, tell myself I'm okay, etc. And so I realized that that's actually similar to what's happening when I go into my art studio and the process of making art. I have been, like many of us, like raise your hand if you relate, but we're so bombarded constantly by external stimuli, and it's very easy to be outside of oneself. And so when I sit to make some work, I try to, again, be in this practice of settling in, dropping in, noticing, feeling what's there, and just then I start making marks. And I'm making abstract marks, but I'm basically allowing my body or my hand to gesture, make marks, put paint on paper, put drawings of graphite or crayon or what have you, and that's telling me, it's actually giving me information of what's going on in there, what is happening in this inner landscape. So it's paying attention to that inner landscape, just like you might, and surrendering to those sensations, just as I might surrender to the sensations in the cold water. So that was kind of this connection I made when I put the show together. Yeah, so that was kind of the key thing I just wanted to start with and say, that's what's behind a lot of this work, and that's sort of the process that it's a very internal process. I'm thinking about trying to find out what's happening inside of myself and what I'm actually feeling, and then when I reflect on the marks I'm making, I'm learning what's happening. Yeah. So
it seems like you're creating a language with your mark making. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that and also the relationship to the books. So it's like language and then books and then.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think some of the things are the books I'll speak to first. This piece I'm calling, this installation, this is my first ever installation, which felt really good. And I'm calling it glossary because a glossary comes at the end of a text, right? And it helps you decode some of the unusual words or terms that are in the text. So I was realizing, and built this piece after I'd installed the rest of my show, and I realized that in a way, this is kind of giving you the elements that are, it's showing you the elements that are in all these other pieces. And so these books, this is just kind of a fun thing, or an interesting thing. I found at a yard sale many years ago a series of these encyclopedias, many volumes, and they were made in 1917, and they are Winston's Cumulative Encyclopedia. And the reason it's called cumulative is because, I feel like a grade teacher. Pay attention. It says complete, authoritative, and practical. And the reason it's practical is because inside each book, there are blank pages at the end of a section. And the blank pages, when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, I could build my own reference book, and here's me doing a little something to try to kind of just have my own way of knowing, my own way of understanding, my own way of saying this is what meaning might be for me. This is what's important is for me. This is me finding myself in my body, as opposed to relating to this book, which is authoritative and is, full of facts. Here's California, and full of the patriarchal sense of what is important, especially in 1917. We are deep in the patriarchy, right? Not that it's gotten much better. So that's why I was interested in pushing back on this authoritative text. This is a book that tells you what is. It's very, it's full of certainty, right? And it's full of, just that sense of authority, right? And then I thought, I have my own authority, and I have my own sense of knowing. And my sense of knowing is more somatic, and it's more intuitive, and it's frankly more female, right? It's a more feminist-oriented way of being, and it's a more somatic and more intuitive way of being. And so that's what I'm symbolizing in the drawings in these books, is trying to show this sense of being inside of yourself and being present, and then the loops and the sense of language are really just about a repetitive action that felt good when I explained that process. That might have been something I did that felt good in the moment as I was making it, and then later I reflect on it, and it reminds me of a very abstract sense of waves, and then it certainly is a sense of cycles, which we see swimming in the bay with the tides, and even an inhale, and an inhale and exhale, and a repetition of that, and it's meditative, just like when you're swimming, and your strokes and your breath, which ties into that sense of coming back to oneself in the body. So, so that was kind of a jumbled, roundabout answer.